Hey, welcome back. This is Ryan Jones from Serverless Guru, and we're going to be looking at DynamoDB. So, in this diagram that we have, DynamoDB is the NoSQL database from AWS, and we're going to be using that to go from Lambda to DynamoDB. So, let's go ahead and jump into DynamoDB in the console. So, DynamoDB. The DynamoDB, like I said, it's a little bit different if you come from a NoSQL background in, MongoDB, for instance. But you can get a grip on it. We're going to do a couple of things. So the first thing that we're going to do is create a DynamoDB table. This table is going to be called users, and we're going to have something just called ID. So just very, very simple stuff. We're going to hit, actually let's call this user ID just to be more specific. Then create. The table is being created. And then now let's go ahead and manually create an item. So if you're familiar with MongoDB, an item would be a document. And then user ID would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just do 1. That's easier. And then we can add extra fields here. So let's add something like insert string. We'll say name and then Ryan. And let's add insert a string again. Let's say job training. Sweet. So now we have this record showing here. You can see that there's a user ID of 1, training name is Ryan. So let's create one more here. User ID 2. This is kind of brutal because you really don't want to be adding stuff manually like this into DynamoDB. You're not going to have a fun time. But for this video and for kind of doing a high-level overview, definitely better. So name Tyler and then job, let's say chef. So if we save that, we now have 2 records inside of our database in our users database. And that's pretty much all you need to know about DynamoDB at the moment. Is that for kind of your collections, you have tables, and for your documents, you have something called an item. So each one of these rows would be an item, and then this would be your table. So you can create more tables by doing the create table button there, adding another table, or you can click delete table, and that'll completely kill all your data. There's items here. There's an overview section, kind of gives you more information about what your table has in it. And then there's a metrics section. You typically don't pay attention to the metrics section unless you're running a production application, and you usually don't pay attention even then unless problems are popping up. And then you can set up alarms. You can do manual capacity stuff, so increasing how performant your database needs to be. As you scale these things up, the price changes quite a bit. So, for instance, if we go in here and we increase this, you can see. So let's say we're running an application like Lyft, and we need 10,000 read and 10,000 write. We're looking at like $6,000 per month. Obviously, we don't need that. We just need like 1 and 1, so 59 cents a month. You can also set up auto scaling. So you can see here that the minimum provision 1, maximum write, and then let's say like 5. So the minimum capacity is 1. The maximum capacity is 5. So if we get more requests, it's going to scale to 5. If it gets even more traffic, it's just going to die. So all requests will fail. But you kind of want that when you're doing like a test application, because imagine that you set that 400,000 and then all of a sudden scaled up to that point and you're paying some gigantic AWS bill. That's not good. Indexes we may potentially cover in this course or may not. This is basically just a way to filter your data in a more efficient manner. And then we've got global tables. This is a new feature by DynamoDB. And we have backups. So backups are super important. So you can actually set up schedules for your backup that'll actually happen like every 5 days or week. And then we can have triggers. So triggers are kind of interesting. Basically, you can have like if a new user gets created, then trigger this other Lambda function. So like, for instance, like in here, API gate, or the front end says user registers. It goes to API gateway, which then goes to Lambda. The Lambda function then is going to store that user in DynamoDB, so add new record to users table. What could happen though in the background is that we could have a whole nother thing take place, completely separate of all this other flow. We could have this other box down here, and this would be a whole nother Lambda function. This gets more advanced. This is the funnest part, honestly, about doing this stuff, is that you can kind of hook these things together like this. I'm getting some delay on my screen, so I'm not sure if that's coming through in the video or not, but I'll just skip that from now. Going back to DynamoDB, you can set up access control, a little bit more advanced than what we need at the moment, and then tags as well. So let's go ahead and add a tag here that says created by. Be created by Ryan Jones. And let's go back to overview, items. Let's go ahead and delete Tyler from here. So you hit actions, delete. And there we go. And that's about all we're going to get into. We're not going to actually write the Lambda code yet to do DynamoDB, as that's a little bit more involved. But in the future videos, we'll definitely jump into it. So hopefully that was a decent overview. In the next section, we're going to be covering creating a CRUD Lambda. So we'll be diving deeper into the create user Lambda. We'll be hooking up everything, which we've kind of already done a little bit. And we'll be getting into hooking into the database. So this was Ryan Jones from Serverless Guru, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.